welcome you to the No Cap Sports Show podcast, where sports and combos collide. Your host, Fredo, Mo Money, Jay Will, Mills Lane, and Kobe, the co-returner. Authentic, unapologetic, no edits, no cap. Let the convo begin.
Welcome to the No Cap Sports Show podcast where sports and convos collide. I am your host, Kobe the Co-Returner.
And I am your host, Mills Lane.
And I'm your other host, Fredo.
How y'all doing today, fam?
Man, we doing good. I'm doing good at least. How you doing, Mills?
Today is a good day.
Yes, it is.
And I think I know why. And I want to say happy International Women's Day out there to all the ladies.
That's right. And I'm going to second that. Happy International Women's Day, ladies.
Thank you. We deserve it.
You do. Yeah. But not just this day. You deserve it every day.
Look at you. I ain't even asked you to say that. Look at you, ladies. That was totally unprompted. I need to say something, y'all. I want to speak to the lady fans on the group. I got these braids, right? And I needed to wash my hair. And I decided to do it before the show. This wet mop of crap is dripping on me. Like, fellas will never understand what we go through. It already wore 5 pounds. Now it's like 10 pounds. Like, I just wanted to put that out there to all the fans, the female fans, and the male fans who might like a little extra hair. It's a job. Sorry, I just had to say that.
I'm telling you, you should consider getting locks. That's you right there. Locks is you. I'm trying to tell you that.
I don't know the way.
Don't knock it until you try it. Go natural.
Nah, I am natural.
Okay, locks, man. Locks, man. Locks.
Turn up in this head.
Locks is you. There ain't no but ultra perm.
I got a nappy side and a curly side. It is what it is. One day is always a project.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fellas, there's so much going on in the news, man.
Absolutely.
Where you want to start at? Where you want to start at, Cole? Where you want to start at, Mills?
It's only right we start with Ja Morant. So we got to rap about this. Before we get started, we do have a special guest coming on tonight, Eddie Basden, former DMV legend, UNC Charlotte Hooper, former NBA player. He will pull up on us in the next 10, 15 minutes. But until then, we got some stuff to rap about. So back to the subject at hand. Ja Morant. Mills, I'm gonna let you kick it off.
Thank you.
Let me know what you're feeling about this whole thing.
A lot of different things, but I'm gonna start maybe where I'm not gonna go in on them. I'm not gonna go in on them because there's a lot of paranoia in these streets, and especially paranoia on the part of, Black men that are multimillionaires. And Ja is what, 23, 24?
23.
23 years old. I'm not condoning what he did. Apparently, there may be a string of questionable incidents about, that surround whether brandishing a weapon. This 17-year-old incident from last summer is concerning to me. But there is a lot of paranoia, and I actually really started listening instead of, first of all, getting mad. Like, come on, what you doing? Like, you know better, right? I don't know if y'all remember about 5 to 7 years ago, T.I. had gotten out for like the second or third time. And he actually was real honest about his paranoia in these streets. And you all enlightened me, and we made a joke about it when me going to Houston about make sure I check in with Jay Prince, because I didn't initially know what checking in meant.
Right.
And a lot of people are after you, and if you are paranoid, which is a mental disorder, or part of a mental disorder, you feel like you have to protect yourself at all times. You never know, you always have people running up to you, mostly fans, but again, it is an acquired taste. Sometimes I open my door and people are right at my door and I jump, like, what I'm saying? So and I'm not brandishing a weapon,
Right.
but it is, something where you're just startled. And to be in that headspace, and to everybody knows you make money. You go out here and you play day in and day out. You have these contracts. I don't know how he grew up. I do know he has the support of at least his dad. So I'm not going to throw, well, he ain't have his parents, and he grew up in the hood, and sometimes it might just be paranoia. I don't agree with him brandishing a weapon. I hope that him taking the onus and stepping back on his own before, other things happen to deal with this. Maybe this part of the healing process for him, but paranoia is real. And, earlier today, I read an article about and watched a video about Mike Epps comedian Mike Epps forgetting that he had a loaded gun in his bag. And he went to the airport and he got caught up in the TSA pre-check or whatever. And he put a video out. He said, look, it's rough out here. He's like, I'm not a bad person. I honestly forgot.
Right.
Look, I just did a show. I walk around. I got cash on me. You never know. And that's what kind of gave me the idea of this paranoia out here and wanting to protect yourself. In Mike Epps' situation, we got people running up on stage and challenging people on stage. And, again, Ja Morant, I'm sure he has people running up on him all the time. So I'm going to go with that angle, paranoia, and hopefully he will get himself straight.
Yeah, Kobe, it's I appreciate your perspective, Mills. It's been a string of questionable behavior on his part for quite some time. Tracy McGrady called this out, I think, a year ago. He said they need a couple of vets on that team, man. He said, I feel like this can go left at any given time. And look what we have now, man. Look what we have now. You know what I'm saying? I'm rooting for the young man. I'm not going to go as easy on him as in terms of what Mills just did and stuff like that, man, because at the end of the day, you brandish a gun in the club and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I don't think that had anything to do with paranoia. That's just stupidity. That was just straight up stupidity. First of all, your teammate, I think what is this guy's name? Steven Adams. He tried to call a players only meeting or something like that. Basically just saying, hey, we need to, make sure we bond as a team and make sure that
tighten up.
Yeah, we need to basically tighten up and stuff like that as a unit, because I can see this thing going left. Well, guess what? It pretty much fell on deaf ears when it came to Ja Morant, and just look what we have now, man. So, the suspension is valid. I know it's definitive at this point, but yeah, it's been questionable behavior at this point, man. And with the 17-year-old kid, and at the mall and stuff like that, all these things are just piling up, man. And I will say this, bro, and I'm gonna turn it to you. What can be giveth can be taketh. You better appreciate and you better thank God for everything that that he's given you to this point. You know what I'm saying? Your God-given ability. He's giving you a $200 million plus contract with the Memphis Grizzlies. He's giving you a brand new Nike deal, and you just got a not a Gatorade, but a Powerade deal with you and your dad or what have you. You better tighten up, man, because like I said, the NBA ain't playing. The NBA is the feds. They know what you're doing before you about to do it. So you need to tighten up. We're rooting for you. We're not trying to go against you, man. But, right, like I said, this stupid, idiotic behavior needs to stop, and it needs to stop now, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with both of your takes. I don't have an issue with athletes wanting to protect themselves and having weapons, and I know most of them do, but usually is in the form of their security carrying the weapons for them and
Right.
watching their back, making sure everything is okay. I mean, back in the late '90s, I spent the summer with a all NBA player, and subsequent, it was in Memphis, coincidentally, and
Don't Memphis getting a bad
yeah, yeah,
rap.
They
and
are.
I'm not going to name his name because I don't know if he want to be mentioned, but
Gotcha.
his security had a whole duffel bag full of weapons, just in case anything go down. But he himself wasn't carrying a weapon. He himself wasn't waving it in the air or anything like that. And in terms of that, that's another example of us trying to emulate the hip hop culture, in my opinion. You know what I
Good
mean?
point.
That's what those guys do. They have the videos. If you look at all the videos, if you look at all the music that John Morant listened to in any of his social media post or anything, you hear what type of music he listen to. And
Yeah.
if you look at those music videos on YouTube or wherever you watch them at, um, they're they're waving guns, they're flossing their jewelry, and he's emulating that. And and it's something that athletes always did, even back in our day. You know what I mean? If you think about it, they give Allen Iverson credit for bringing the hip hop culture into the
Yep.
NBA, and he did. He emulated the hip hop culture. That was the environment he was from because that's the environment hip hop was from. But you got to think how different the folks were in hip hop compared to today. Those were grown folks. Even though they were street dudes, they were grown folks. They were trying not to get caught. They were trying to stay under the radar. They wasn't waving no guns or showing drugs or flossing their ice, even though they would, but they wasn't loud with it. They wasn't hot. But
Yeah.
today's hip hop artists, they want you to know
Got to
they
be on Front Street.
they want to know they shot somebody. They
That's
want you to know they sell drugs. They want you
Mm.
to know all this stuff. So they're not a good example for you to emulate right now because they hot. Look, we talked
eh,
about it a couple months ago. We got people on locked up with a RICO case. You know what I mean?
right.
Rappers, multi-million-dollar rappers on RICO cases.
Hey, Kobe.
What's
And they
up?
pressed the live button.
And press the live button. I mean,
I got a gun. I'm branching a gun.
Yeah.
And I'm going
yeah,
to press the live button so
Dumbest
you can see it.
thing. Yes. Let's
exactly.
record this crime.
Yeah, and I just don't get it. But I think it all boils down to just because you got people following you don't make you a leader. Okay, this person, it's two ways you can be a leader. You can be a born leader, or you can learn to be a leader. So obviously he's not a born leader, and obviously he hasn't learned how to be a leader yet. It's like the blind leading the blind, because if you're the top dog, you the breadwinner, and you got this crew around you, you have to set the rules. You have to set the boundaries. You can't let people pull you back and pull you down. And knowing you are the top dog, the breadwinner, you have to set the rules. You have to create your circle.
Sorry, Kobe, we're not laughing at you.
No, I know. Yeah. I see it. And then the last point I'm going to make, look at his pops. You know what I'm saying?
Usher.
It's like Big Meech and Little Meech. You know what I'm saying? They out there, you know what I mean? Pops out there enjoying the limelight that his son has produced for him.
Yeah.
He rubbing shoulders with all the NBA guys. He's probably out partying with the women. Look, he trying to rumble Big Shane Sharp, about to get his neck broke.
You
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, come on.
So you know what I'm saying?
Come on, T, we love you, but you ain't ready for that.
Yeah, so who is he? So who is he following? Who is he getting a positive example from? It's not the rappers, and it's obvious like not his pops. That's all I got to say about it.
He has to change his surroundings, man. He got to change his mindset, number one. But that's 1A. But 1B, man, he has to change his surroundings. You got to surround yourself with people that, you know what I'm saying, that's going to tell you not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And I think he's probably surrounded by a bunch of yes men. And that right there is not going to cut it, my guy. That's not going to cut it, man. That's not going to get you far in life at all, man. Not like I said, hopefully you learn from it.
It's immaturity, and it's unfortunate that they are playing with their lives because it's not a game these days. And it is hot in Memphis,
Spicy.
people don't know that there are gangs in Memphis, and but it's just, I think it's sad, and I hope he removed himself from the situation. He's only 23, so it's a game of, you need to grow up quick. If you think back about 10 years ago, Justin Bieber was wilding, and I'm not a Justin Bieber, like, I don't
Right.
buy
He
his
was
music,
too,
but
Mills.
he was
That's a good one.
wilding, and now he got married, he settled down, what I'm saying? You don't hear a peep, and it's stuff, you got to go through stuff, you got to make mistakes, and he's just making bad choices and not being able to see far, you
Right.
can't see down, it's tunnel vision right now.
Yeah.
Multi-million dollars will do that, extensive credit will do that for somebody who is 23 and maybe a little misdirected and living a life.
And
So,
guys, let me throw myself out there. I was once 23, 24, 25 years old, and I was wild. And not to that extent.
what was
But
you
yeah,
doing? What was you doing?
man, I'm about to go ahead and let me finish this autobiography. That thing might be a bestseller. Woo! No, yeah, but I wasn't perfect neither. You know what I'm saying? I made some mistakes. Just a few of them, you know what I'm saying, back in my youngin' days and stuff like that, wild and stuff like that. Not to that extent, fortunately, but yeah, man, you live and learn. But at the same time, man, when you got this, like I said, when you have these opportunities right in front of you, you got to take advantage of it. You have to take advantage of it. No one's not saying that you can't make a mistake, but the key is not continue to make it repetitive. And
Yeah,
like I
and
said,
to
this situation,
recognize it. Like, right now, again, maybe he's like, okay, let me get it together. But you got to recognize it and then move forward.
Okay, Mills, I know it's something else that you wanted to talk about as well.
I know. My Jimmy B is retiring, and it was so weird how he did it. Like, he's done. Like, I
You caught me
mean,
off guard with that. I didn't think you were saying
thank
that.
you. Oh, I don't. Oh, well, look, let's back it up. But I want to say that. I want to say,
Yes.
shout out to Jim Boeheim. He gave me some of the most fun
Yeah.
years of the 90s, going to the games, the Syracuse Georgetown rival
Legend.
Games, Syracuse versus everybody. Like, shout out to, y'all know my forever crush was Lawrence Moten. I asked him to my high school prom. Sam.
We're going to get you on one day.
Yeah, shout out to his little sister Champagne. People don't even know that. I got that far, but that's about it.
Kobe.
What?
Oh no, we're not. Yeah, we're gonna get back to what we was talking about. But Kobe, yeah, let me ask you this: what's going on with your boy Lamar, man? I mean,
hey, the key word in this whole thing is collusion. We know what it is.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Those wealthy white folks sticking together, they're gonna make sure Lamar knows his place. And he's moving without an agent. Oh yeah, they're gonna make an example out of him.
Well, Cleveland Browns, and it's not him, it's Cleveland Browns that jacked it up.
Cleveland Browns jacked it up, and then all the owners jumped on Cleveland Browns owners like, "What the F are you doing, bruh?" And then so all the other owners like, we gotta make sure this doesn't happen again. But let's go back, because the Baltimore Ravens been planting the seed even before the season started. Man, look, we're not stupid. You're not going to trick us. All right, so they come out with the preseason top 10 quarterback rankings, right? Preseason. For some reason, Lamar mysteriously left off of it. And then you get all the experts like, man, this is a crazy list. Lamar should be in the top 5, this, that, or other. But he's left off of it. You know why? It's contract year. That's something that they can point to. Man, you're not even a top 10 quarterback. Why am I going to give you this bread?
Politics.
And then what happened next? You get an anonymous letter from some mysterious defensive coordinator said that Lamar ain't going to win championships, and he doesn't put fear in nobody's team. He's a great athlete, but that's all. So that was the other plan. All this stuff is just the seed that just kept on growing. And then what they're using now, playing style. He's going to get injured. He's a running quarterback. He runs, so he's going to get hit. All right, yeah. Granted, he did get injured this season and last season, but guess what? It wasn't from running. both of those injuries was in the pocket. Was in the pocket.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure he would have played in the playoffs this year if he had a guaranteed bag. But nobody gonna go out there with a bum knee with no guaranteed money and must mess up the rest of their career. RG3 said it best. Man, sit your butt down until you get your bread.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Right.
he was the best example of it. You know? And then the next thing they did, they didn't give him his money, but guess what? They didn't spend it on giving him no outside weapons.
Sure didn't.
So now they're like, man, you didn't throw it touchdowns like Patrick Mahomes, but guess or Tua. Guess what? I don't got the receivers he got. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. They using all of this. They collecting all of this so they can use it against him in contract negotiations. When you know this man, one of the baddest men on the planet at the quarterback position. Now you got other teams helping you to gain leverage so he can come running back to Baltimore and you can give him the contract that you wanted to give him the whole time.
Well, let me speak on my team. Again, we would love to have him. We just not in the situation to get him because of our.
But they on the list of the team said they don't want him.
Yeah, but you want me to tell you why? But we have a legitimate reason. The ownership. With the team somewhat up for sale, and I sent you guys a link the other day in terms of, hey, we can't go after big time free agents because Dan Snyder, which is our owner, doesn't have enough. You got to have that money in escrow in terms of that guaranteed money, and he's pretty much cash poor at this point. So we're somewhat stuck. So we can't even afford to get him even if we wanted to. Now, in terms of the other teams, i.e. Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers, man, they need to be going all in to try to get this. I have no idea. They got all the salary cap space in the world, so I don't get it. They got the picks. I don't get it. I really don't. So
I mean, you know what it is, but with the Commanders. Of course, they're not mentioning anything about their financial situation, their owner's financial situation, but they grouped them with all the other teams that said that they're not interested in getting Lamar Jackson, which is BS, and we all know it. Like, you can't prove collusion, but we all know it.
Yeah.
We saw it with Colin Kaepernick. It's the same shit.
It is.
You know what I mean? And it's going on. So just look. So they're not trying to give him his money, right? So the top four quarterbacks, as far as guaranteed money, you got Deshaun Watson 1, Kyler Murray 2, Russell Wilson 3, Aaron Rodgers 4.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson, I know he's been out for a while and this is his first year back, but he was trash this year, right?
He was trash. He was.
Their team didn't make the playoffs. Kyler Murray got his money like $189 million. Trash. Team didn't make the playoffs, right?
Trash.
Am I right?
Yes. I agree.
Russell Wilson, I know
oh my God.
He's an OG. He's an OG.
Let me say it.
But guess what?
Go ahead, Mills. Russell Wilson.
Trash. Yeah. Trash. And guess what? They didn't make the playoffs either.
They sure didn't.
And then last but not least is the great Aaron Rodgers. He not trash, but he didn't have.
But he was trash adjacent.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that.
He wasn't trash. He was the recycle bin right next to the trash.
Yeah, where you put these in. Yeah, right. Gotcha.
Yeah. And so you got these four guys with this guaranteed money, 153 on up to 230, and you trying to tell me Lamar Jackson don't fit anywhere in there?
I know somebody else that's gonna fit in there. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow about to get that money.
And think about this. I know how great Joe Burrow is, and he did lead Cincinnati to a Super Bowl. But think about this. The last two seasons, before Lamar got hurt, Baltimore was number one in the division, was about to win the division. Not Joe Burrow and the Bengals. It was the Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
Even this season, Baltimore Ravens was leading the division before Lamar got hurt. It wasn't the Bengals going to win the division. It was Baltimore. And guess what? Lamar Jackson has a winning record against the Bengals, Joe Burrow.
Facts.
So I mean, what else can this guy do?
Business trumps all. You know what I'm saying? They just don't care about their players.
It's the business,
They want to keep you at
trying
a
to
certain. They want to keep you at a certain limit, Mills. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even that.
I felt
Mills.
the cap money, like the 31 mil or what. I was like, that seems so low to me.
Yeah, Mills. Cleveland messed like we said in the beginning. Cleveland jacked this thing up when they signed Deshaun Watson to that 5-year guaranteed $230 million guaranteed money. That pretty much just out trumped everything, man. And it pretty much just took took the market to a whole nother level from a quarterback standpoint. Now Lamar sitting up there, rightfully so. Lamar sitting up there like, okay, if you're paying this cat this, then I know I need to be getting this. And that's the problem. They don't want to set a precedent, you know what I'm saying, in terms of that from a marketability standpoint for contracts.
So
but
has Lamar said why he chooses not to have an agent?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's trying. I mean, when you paying that agent, that's 3 to 6%. You know,
probably more than that.
Huh?
Probably more than that. Probably
more than that.
Over 5%.
Okay. But we can say 5 to 10%, right?
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, 5-10% of what? $300 million. That's what? Yeah. What you talking about? 15 to $30 million that you can, you know what I'm saying, that you can save. So I don't know. I know his mom was represented in that type of capacity at one point, right?
Yeah,
so
I'm sure he got advisors.
Right. And I'm not mad at that. There's a lot of
Ray Allen did it. Ray Allen did it successfully in the NBA. Ray Allen did it for most of his career.
Yeah. They are. The guy that played for the Sixers or what have, I can't think of his name. His dad represented him or what have you. The guy got about two contracts already, and he's not like he's an elite player any damn way. I can't even think of his name right now. But yeah, anyways, Kobe, yeah, to your point, man, you're right, man. It's a funny business, man, when it comes to these contracts. But Cleveland jacked that up, Mills. They jacked it up big time. Let me ask you guys. Let me ask you guys this right quick. So, as we know that there were 4 kidnapped Americans or what have you that were found in Mexico. 2 of them were deceased, unfortunately, and the other 2 they brought back to American territory. It was said that these 4 individuals drove from South Carolina all the way to Brownsville, Texas, to Mexico or what have you, which was 28 hours or something to that extent. Now, I did put out a post today, and again, like I said,
explain that post because I wasn't exactly clear on what.
No, basically, basically what I was saying was
they were up to no good.
No, I was just saying that I know that I'm not the only one thinking that they was going down there to meet the plug. That's what I basically said.
Plug, what plugging them up with the drug or because they say the woman need the surgery.
Yeah, hey, exactly.
Drug.
That's where I was. That's where it just didn't. It just didn't.
I mean, damn, you got to drive.
You don't drive 28. You don't drive 28 hours to get no damn tummy tuck.
Maybe they
hold on. With 3 men. And hold on, it was initially 5 people.
He was getting a BBL.
No, he was getting a tummy tuck. All right, you was tucking something else.
Hey. And when they said Godfather of Harlem, he was getting that Italian doozy. He was about to get the doozy.
Again, condolences to the 2 that were killed. Like I said, condolences.
And the 3rd may never walk again. 3 shots to the knees or something.
Well, no, but check this out, Mills. It was a 5th one. A 5th one. They said when they got to the border, they asked for his or her ID, and they didn't have it. They forgot it back in South Carolina, so she was left behind.
For sure,
it's all over the place.
Some don't quite.
Quite. Hey, fam, we got our guest of honor in the building. My man, my bro, Eddie Basden, DMV legend. What's up with you?
Man, what's going on? How y'all doing this evening?
Hey, what's good, Mr. Basden?
Man, we feeling good, bro.
What's up, Fred?
Not much,
champ. How you doing, Miss Lane?
How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, look, I apologize, man. I was wrapping up my sons, they just started playing basketball. This their
Uh-oh.
first season right here. They actually won their championship last week.
Oh, that's what's
And
up.
you know,
Congrats.
they had practice for the All-Star game on Friday. So
That's what's up.
man, I was leaving there and whatnot, man. But how y'all doing this evening?
Man, we're doing good,
Good.
family.
We
Bless,
just
bruh.
having some current event small talk. Lamar
Oh, yeah, I
Jackson,
heard
the people
y'all.
in Mexico, Jimmy B retired.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
that Mexico situation was crazy.
Straight up.
And you know,
Okay. Hold on, Kobe. Before you do anything, go ahead, Eddie. Tell me what you was thinking, bro.
Hey, listen, because you know, I played in Mexico. You know, I played in Mexico for 2 seasons. That league over there was probably 4 to 5 months. You know, if you made it to the championship, 5 months. When I was there, we only made it to the semifinals. So my first year, I was there the whole 5 months. We made it to the semifinals. My second time, I came for the playoffs. So, you know, I'm familiar with, you know, how dangerous, you know, it can be.
Right.
That whole narrative on what they said happened and how it went down, that tummy tuck thing, that's just a way over my head. I'm like, you know, the 3 guys going with 1 girl for the tummy tuck. You know, I've had friends that, you know, have gotten their, you know, BBLs and tummy tucks, and you know, they, you know, 1 person with them, they fine. So, you know, man, it's unfortunate situation that, you know, 2 of the people lost their lives, and that, you know, they was even kidnapped, because, man, that's a terrifying position to be in. So, you know, condolences to the, you know, families who lost, and hopefully the other 2, they make it back safe. But yeah, Mexico, it's nothing to play with, man. You really got to know where you're going, and you really got to be tapped in with the right people. So, you know, I understand it well.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Eddie, the people been waiting on you. They want to hear from you. We got a lot of listeners and watchers that want to hear your story. And so let's just jump right into it.
Yes, sir.
So we know the type of illustrious basketball career that you've had, but I want to know, when did it start? So when did you first put a basketball in your hand, and who was the person that put it in there?
All right, so let me take it all the way back to the beginning, man. So I want to say I probably began playing around the age of 6, 7. You know, that's when I kind of like begin to grow the love for it. I'm from New York City originally, you know, Brooklyn, New York, Bed-Stuy. And from a kid, you know, the same way they got Berry Farms here, they got the Watts, you know, different outdoor leagues. I used to go and watch these guys play at a league called Soul in the Hole, and it was Kenny Kings. Kenny Kings was a team that was consisted of all the top high school guys at that time, and they played summer league, how we would play, like I said, up Berry Farms, up the Watts, up the Kenner League out here. And that was kind of my first introduction to the game. I used to go up there every weekend, you know, and watch them just stand outside the fence, and I was just a kid. I lived a block away. That was my elementary school that I went to. So my mother was comfortable with me going back and forth. And Ed Booger Smith, you know, that was the point guard at the time for their team. And I just took a liking into him, man. The oohs and the ahs, the way he played, you know, he was fearless. He was one of the smaller guys, but he could just handle the rock. And, you know, he had Charlie Jones on his team. Charlie Jones played at the University of Rhode Island.
Okay.
And he did big things, you know, at the University of Rhode Island. You know, he had 40 and 50-point games. So, you know, like, it was valid guys playing at that time. But I'm 6 years old, so I'm just pretty much watching the game, learning the game. And I remember when I was 7, my mother's neighbor, his name was Keith. They was twins. It was Kevin and Keith. Keith, you know, knocked on the door, asked my mother, did she mind if he took me to a basketball game down at the YMCA? And the YMCA was on Bedford-Stuyvesant Avenue and Monroe Street. I lived on Monroe Street, so it was right on that corner. And the game that he took me to was Felipe Lopez
Mm.
versus Stephon Marbury.
Wow.
And now, if you know, for everybody who knows basketball, you know, those names ring bells, and you know, those are New York City legends as well. So that's where it started. I went to that game, man, and I just saw the energy, man, that they have for the guy Felipe Lopez, and it just blew my mind. You know, he's Dominican. You know, he came from old Dominican Republic, and he came to New York. He couldn't speak English, but he could play basketball. And they used to come out for him. I'm talking about it used to be a sold out night, and they was just in the arena, man, and that's where it all started for me. After that, and this all was one, like, you know, my birthday's in February, so this was like, you know, a continuous year where it all really kicked off for me. And you know, from that moment, man, I ended up playing on, you know, my first 9 and under team. I was 7. The guy Keith that I mentioned earlier, he was the coach for that team. And man, you know, truth be told, man, it was just a God-given, you know, ability, you know, and talent that I had, and just a knack for, because I had a, you know, great IQ for the game since I was a kid. Like I said, I was a 7-year-old playing on 9 and under. I won my first championship down at the YMCA. So, you know, like, I was just raw, and, you know, it was just, you know, a matter of time before, you know, I blossomed and figured it all the way out.
So Eddie, I don't want to cut you off, but at 7, were you tall? Did you have handles? Like, what was your skill set at 7 to allow you to play with the 9 and under team?
So I was tall, you know, I've always, you know, had some height on me. And, you know, I was a big guard. Like, fast forward, the only reason I began to play like the 3 and the 4 was because, you know, the style of whatever coach I was playing with, they might have wanted to play, you know, 3 guards, a wing, and a big man. You could get it, you know, get it and go, y'all up and down. And I was never afraid to check somebody bigger than me. You know, like, you know, that's what I did. That was my thing, defense, first and foremost. And then everything else came, you know, as, you know, time goes on, as I put the work in and so forth and so on. But I was a point guard, you know, everybody knows. Even when I moved from New York down here, you know, I played with a lot of good point guards throughout the county, throughout, you know, DC area and VA, you know, at that. So, you know, we had battles, but yeah, I could handle it. I could pretty much do everything. Like I said, I had a good IQ for the game, and it was just natural. And I think it was from just watching these guys. And once once you see something like a cartoon, you just tuned in. Right. I wasn't in the house watching cartoons. You know, I was at that park. That's what kind of caught my, you know, attention. So yeah, that's where it all began. I kind of just had a little bit. I just had game. You know, I had game. Yeah.
So when did you make the transition over to the DMV?
So we moved to the DMV in 96. 96, man, I was in the 7th grade. Yeah, 7th grade. So 6th, 7th grade, like I was at the end of my 6th grade year, you know, 7th grade. And that's when, I didn't even play basketball when I first moved to the DMV.
Wow.
You know, I moved to a neighborhood called Spring Hill Lake. That was in Greenbelt, Maryland. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, you had to get acclimated, you know, with your new surroundings, with the area, try to figure out what's going on. And Spring Hill Lake was a huge neighborhood for anybody that may be watching that knows about it. It's a huge neighborhood. So it's a bunch of kids, you know, at the top of the hill, the bottom of the hill, the middle. The rec was at the bottom of the hill, and I lived directly behind the rec. So that's just where I would go and meet people and see, you know, what was going on, figure out Maryland, figure out this whole area. Right. And my first sport here was football. You know, that was big here. So, you know, I played football, and, I was good. Like I said, I was big. So, you know, they put me at tight end. They put me at defensive end. You know, I could play. You know, I was athletic. So it wasn't like a big shot, but it just wasn't for me. You feel me? So, you know, I ended up transitioning over to basketball, man. And that was kind of like strange too, because I just happened to be walking through the neighborhood one day, and it was a middle school, Greenbelt Middle, and I just hear people in there playing basketball. The basketball is just bouncing. So I would just poke my head in, you know, I see what's going on, and I just hear this woman just screaming and hollering, at the players. Get on the line. Like she just at the top of her lungs. So I look a little closer, and it's a white lit woman in there, and she like it's all brothers looking like me. And she just getting on them, and they in there and they doing their suicides, they paying attention, they listening. And I asked one of the women on the side, I said, hey, can I play with these guys? And she was like, I don't know, how old are you? And I just happened to be the age, and I think that was probably 13 and under, at that time. And the coach that was in there screaming and hollering at the kids, man, is like a mother to me. Rest in peace. That was Joyce Tillman with the PG Jaguars.
Yeah.
So that was my coach, from the beginning. And that's who I was with, my entire AAU career. I played with Team Assault. I played with the Blue Devils in certain tournaments. But yeah, that was my team though. That was my
That is
organization.
awesome. So a woman brought you in.
Absolutely.
Hey.
And then, like I was raised, single mother. So, and my grandmother. So, I already listened, and, it wasn't really no big deal. My mother, cursed me out if I got out of line. So, I knew I loved this game called basketball and that I was going to give it my all. So she was going to end up loving me. And she did, and she did for sure.
That matters. That matters.
Mm-hmm.
And you went to high school at Eleanor Roosevelt, and Eleanor Roosevelt obviously always had a good sports program and something. But I'm looking at your age, and I'm like, did you know Maya? Totally off the subject. Maya went to Roosevelt.
Nah, she did, and I was a freshman, and she was a senior. And she was on Teen Summit BET back in the day. Doing her thing. My sister actually was a senior with Maya, so they was both on Teen Summit. They both did their thing or whatnot. But yeah, man, I was there when she was there. I knew her a little bit. She had a brother that went to the school as well. And yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, she definitely was there.
So let's talk about the sports program. I just had to throw that in. I was like, wait, you all had to rub shoulders or something. I don't know who was looking at who, but I'm just saying. I like Maya. But talk about high school basketball. And by this time, you definitely smelling yourself. You got the height, you got the build, you got the handle. What was it like playing in high school, and who was your biggest competition? Do you remember?
Man, well, so I didn't play my 9th grade year. I was kind of like, on the fence, man. I'm hanging out with the guys. You're a freshman in high school. Now, first of all, let me take it back, right? Because at that time, public school wasn't the way to go. Everybody was going to the DeMathis, the Gonzagas, the Carrolls, Good Counsel.
Yeah.
They were going to the private schools because that's where, you got the most exposure. But like I said, I didn't play my 9th grade year, and I wanted to go to, the school where all my friends were going. So I ended up at Eleanor Roosevelt. Guys know it's a magnet school, so you got to be accepted in there if you're not in the zoning area and whatnot. So, I commuted back and forth. And, sometimes I go to school, sometimes I wouldn't. But I tightened up after that first year because one of my friends was playing JV that season. And his name was Steve Rapp. His mother, she was a part of the PG Jaguar organization, like as the team mom. Wow. So, I used to be with him all the time. You didn't have to have grades to play AAU. So, summertime come, we playing and we doing our thing. But I had went to a summer league game for Roosevelt, and they were playing. And I used to go to all Steve games, and they were playing in the playoffs. And, they used to make the games like at 6 in the evening, 6:30, 6:45. That's traffic time. So a lot of parents rushing, trying to get their kids there. And this one particular playoff game, they didn't have enough players. So I'm sitting in the stands just there to watch the game and support my man. And, I remember he coming to the stands. He like, man, we need you to play. If you're the only one from Roosevelt that goes there, boom. Like, if you don't play, we gonna forfeit. And I'm like, man, y'all can play with 4 players until somebody come. Y'all don't need 2 players. But I'm faking though, because I really wanted to get out there. Like, I knew I could play. I was disappointed that I didn't get that freshman year in. So, I was like playing that hard to get, but I ended up folding, and I jumped out there. And I remember, man, the coach, he grabbed me before I got a game, and he said, listen, when you get the rebound, just pass it to Amez. Amez was the point guard at the time. And I'm like, all right, I got it. You know what I'm saying? So, just from, I guess, my posture, my demeanor on the court, you can kind of tell if a player can play or not. And, I'm getting steals, I'm in the passing lane. It's just instinct things right now that the coach just sees. And I remember we was probably down by like 11 at halftime. The other kids, began to come. And coming out from halftime, the coach was like, look, if you want to continue to play, you can, but we got our guys. I said, man, if you want me to play, I'll play. And he was like, well, look, it seemed like you got some game. Just go ahead and play. So I'm like, all right. I end up going out there second half, man. I finished with 12 points. And we end up winning that game, man, to take them to the championship. After that game, we played in the championship. The JV coach invited the varsity coach, which was Glenn Farello. Glenn Farello is at Paula 6 right now. And Glenn Farello came to the game, and he said, if this kid can play, then like you say he can, then, man, we're going to throw him in the fire. So after we won that championship up Oxon Hill, they took me to a Kenner League game down Georgetown. Now, mind you, I'm 14, 15 years old. I'm going to the varsity game. And I actually played in that game, man. And my first game, I had 14 points, man. So that's when they knew they had something
confidence.
They had something special. So, they got, they talked with my mother. They told me, look, this is what you got to do if you want to play, man. You got to maintain this grade point average. Like, you just got to get on the ball. And I said, say no more. This is something I want to do. I'm enjoying it. I'm with my friends too, still from AAU and, in high school. So that's how it really started. My sophomore year, I went straight to varsity, and, it was no looking back. But like I said, back then, it wasn't normal to go to these public schools and play.
Right.
You asked a question on who was our like most, competition and whatnot. Our rivals at the time was Oxon Hill.
Lamar Butler.
Oxon Hill, yeah, they had Lamar Butler, Phil Goss.
Yeah.
They had Michael Sweetney. And then they had
Michael Sweetney.
And then they had a bunch of solid role players, guys that was just solid with whatever they did, whether that was shooting the ball, whether that was playing defense. On Coach Lanier at that time, he had him a squad. He had him a program that was, moving in the right direction. So, that was our rival. We had a few, the Largos, the Suitland, Northwestern, but everybody wanted a piece of us because of, who we had on our squad. We had a guy by the name of Delonte Holland who played, in Europe, played in the Euro League and Euro Cup. He played against some of the, the best European players in the NBA and lit them up. He was definitely one of them guys that should have made it to the NBA and had him a good career. But, the path took him different. Delonte West was on that team with me.
Delonte West.
And that's my brother. That's my best friend. And I got him to come to Roosevelt, so we kind of like built our team, from that sophomore year moving forward. And, we did some great things, at that Roosevelt program that ultimately got them, where they are today, and they've been winning championships since I've left and doing their thing. So, it's been a, whirlwind.
So Eddie, you said you got Delonte to go to Illinois. Where was he gonna go?
So I think at the time he was living in the Largo area. So he played. His barbers over there too. Yeah. Yeah, he played AAU with. He played rec league with Kettering. You know, so he was over there with that with that whole, you know, Largo side of guys. But yeah, he ended up at Roosevelt, man, and that's where we ended up building our brotherhood, man, and you know, we did some great things together.
That's what's up. So look here, man. Your senior year, bro. I'm jump to your senior year, and before I get to that, I knew about you guys because you and Delonte graduated. My sister Sarita, she graduated with you in 2000.
Okay.
At Eleanor Roosevelt, man. I heard about you guys. You guys was just doing numbers, man, and just putting on shows like it wasn't nothing, man. So I checked you out a few times, man, and yeah, I was definitely a fan, bro. I was definitely thoroughly impressed. But your senior year, man, 18.3 points, 8 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and 3.6 steals, man. Damn, you was playing them passing lanes like it wasn't nothing, bro.
Yeah.
How was your? I know you end up signing with UNC Charlotte, but tell us a little more about your recruiting. Who recruited you outside of UNC Charlotte?
Okay, so man, you know, that's a funny story, man, because I had all the major schools recruiting me. You know, I had North Carolina, I had Duke, I had NC State, and you know, along the way, you know, my mother, she didn't know much about basketball and what was going on. I just like, Mom, going to play. So it kind of fell like into my high school coach's hands with him just giving me some advice. And my top teams, you know, I had GW here. I had, you know, I wanted to go to Maryland. Let me get that clear. That's where I wanted to go. Like, if I could pick, I wanted to go to Maryland. But at the time, you know, Gary Williams just wasn't recruiting guys from this area.
He wasn't. You know, he's not big on recruiting.
And the guy that he had got from this area, Steve Francis, you know, that's a guy I looked up to in the area. He got him from junior college. So, like I said, Gary Williams wasn't recruiting heavy in this area. So, you know, that was, you know, checked off the list. I had UMass, I had Villanova, I had St. John's. And now with those 3 schools being said, I wanted to go back to New York. I knew St. John's played in the Garden. I knew the exposure that they had. I knew the celebrities, they used to come to their games. I knew the hype, you know, around it. And I knew with all that and what I can do on the basketball court, man, it'll kind of, you know, man, bring some exposure to myself even more, to my team. You know, we could do some big things. But Mike Jarvis left GW, went to St. John's.
Yeah.
He recruited Marcus Hatton from Baltimore.
I remember him.
And I remember talking with Mike Jarvis, and he said, son, I would love to have you. You know, I recruited you when I was at GW, but, you know, I'm bringing a JUCO guy by the name of Marcus Hatton. And I promised him that this was going to be the keys to his, you know, vehicle. So he was like, I don't want you to come and be sitting. I know you're a guy that needs to begin playing time right away. You can, you know, be very productive with any squad that you go to as a freshman. And I just want you to go flourish. So then that scratched St. John's off the list. And now
shout out to Mike Jarvis for giving you that though.
Yeah, that was real.
He didn't play with you.
Yeah,
right?
That was real, man. Respect him to this day. And then, you know, Alpha Bangirl, he came from Roosevelt, so he played for Mike Jarvis at St. John's. And, you know, they had that whole ESPN, you know, St. John's following us. So if y'all remember the story, you know, y'all know how that went. But UMass and Villanova, those are my final 2 that I was down to. And I ended up going with UMass. UMass had, you know, a coach by the name of Bruiser Flint there.
Yeah.
At the time,
UMass,
they had Monty Mack, which was one of the top shooting guards in that. That it was Atlantic 10 at the time.
Yeah.
So they was in Atlantic 10. He was one of the top guys, and I used to read about him in the magazines. And they used to talk about his possibility to go to the NBA. So I'm like, well, this ain't a bad spot. You know, if the coaching staff really invested in me like they say they are, then, you know, I'm gonna you know, take this route right here, because it was a, you know, it made it good. It was an all-black coaching staff.
Right.
So, you know, I just felt comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making black or white thing, but, you know, that's just what I was comfortable with at the time. So I gave them my verbal my junior year. And, man, they had a bad season. my senior year. So they all end up getting fired. Now I'm sitting here like, damn, everybody done chose, where they going. So now what's left, what's left for me? Who was the coach? Dang, I just told the story the other day. Steve
Lapis for Villanova.
Yeah.
Steve Lapis was at Villanova when I picked UMass over Villanova. They fired the whole coaching staff from UMass. Steve Lapis got the job at UMass.
Dang.
So you know how we think. We like, man, I picked against them, man. I know they gonna screw me around, man. I ain't gonna play, even though I know I'm good enough to beat whoever out. I'm like, man, I just heard too many stories about guys from our area that went to certain schools and just didn't get done right. So I was like, man, I went to AD, asked for, my letter back, and they granted that.
Which good.
And I was going to pick Villanova next. They got Jay Wright from Hofstra. Jay Wright is a friend of my uncle's in New York. So he knew about me. He recruited me at Hofstra, but he knew I wasn't coming there. He ended up getting the job when Steve Lapis went to UMass at Villanova. And he had brought in Randy Foye and I forget the other kid, but they were two top guards.
They sure was.
Randy Foye did. He was with the Wizards for a while, a couple other teams in the league. So he got some tough guards, man. And I knew I could be, a good addition, but he just didn't have any more scholarships because it was like at the end. Damn. So, I'm back home and I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I was thinking about, going to prep. And Coach Kevin Nickelberry, if you guys are familiar with the name.
With Georgetown.
He's a guy, he's at Georgetown now. He's a guy from the DC area. He was at Monmouth with Alpha Bangor when Alpha transferred from St. John's, and that was kind of like his guy. So Alpha told me, hey, look, Nickelberry want to talk with you. So Nickelberry said, look, I got this opportunity, man, down in Charlotte. I'm about to get, the assistant job there, and, it'll be a great situation for you. So, kind of like things just was sequentially like falling into place because I'm like, Charlotte, dang, that's where Rodney White went. Rodney White was from this area. He from Philly, but he moved here, went to Newport. And I'm like, man, I seen what he did in that conference. And then he went top 10. I said, that might not be a bad conference either, man. Look, I'm going to go check this out. So then I ended up picking, UNC Charlotte. That's how I got there, through Nickelberry. And because Rodney was down there. So, kind of like persuade me a little bit. Like, let's go check it out.
That's awesome. So you were in the Conference USA, right, at the time?
Yeah, it was the Conference USA still.
Okay, so you was all conference, obviously, both all conference and all conference defense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
let me look. I ain't gonna do. So I was defensive player of the year.
Player of the year.
Facts.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Tell them.
And I was player of the year my senior year.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna let you go back to the question, but I'm gonna just put this out there. Only two other people ever did what I did in that conference, and that was King Martin and Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
So so with that being said, like, we know the magnitude of the conference, the type of guys that was coming out of there. You had Louisville, Memphis, Marquette, St. Louis. Man, you had East Carolina. Shout out to Fred Primus, man. That's been my guy. He was there, man, probably like a junior or senior when I was a freshman. So, like, it was a strong, solid conference. UAB, man, Southern Miss. And see, Southern Miss had a top 5 shooting guard in my class over there, Rashad Caruth.
Okay.
Memphis had DeJuan Wagner.
Shout out to DJ.
Louisville has Francisco Garcia. Now, these all the top guys.
Francisco Garcia.
In my class that's in Conference USA. They're not in the SEC, the ACC. Like they right there. So, that's what also kind of like got me to say, okay, it's competition here. Let me go boogie. I ain't get to see these guys. So yeah, I'm gonna go see what's up. So yeah, so that's what Conference USA. Oh, Cincinnati too. I apologize. James
Yeah.
White, Jason McNeil, Lenny Stokes. Yeah, so they had a mob there, man. So that conference was strong for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So with all the success that you had individually in Conference USA, when did the pressure or the heat for you come in terms of jumping ship and going to the league? So when did you know that there was interest for you at the next level?
So I knew going into my freshman year because I was, it was, how I go back and forth. Coming out of this area, I was the number 1, number 2 player in the area.
Right.
My class. So you hear, the projections, the possibilities, and I was never a high guy, like a lottery guy and whatnot. So I knew I still had a lot of work to do. I actually, man, hurt my knee that summer going into my freshman year. I tore my meniscus playing in like a little charity game. So that set me back from me just being ready and going right in and focusing on just being healthy, fresh, and able to play. Now, I'm second guessing certain situations. I'm doubting if I'm gonna come back and be able to jump as high as I was jumping. Like, am I gonna be effective? Like, you just never know how an injury will, plague you down the road. So, man, I was young still, like I said, and man, I just got, I went and had surgery down Charlotte, and I just got the rehabbing. And I want to say right before training camp, they told me I would be limited, to time, 15 minutes a game, this, that, and the third. And I was just so disappointed, man, because I knew I was a 20 minute I need to play half the game, at minimum, in order to get to where I wanted to get. And that's that moment, that I think everybody faces, that adversity, that triumph moment where you got to sit with yourself and find out and figure out who you really are. So I ended up, man, just sitting with my trainer one day, and I asked him, man, just tell me all the things that I need to do in order to get back and be healthy by November 15th. And he was like, man, I was hard-headed, man. I'm feeling good after the surgery. I'm doing my rehab. We getting closer to the season. Man, I'm in there having a dunk contest with one of the other point guards. So like I love the game, man. I ain't want to stay off my feet. But I remember the trainer had came up stairs and he seen, us in there dunking and jumping and going crazy. He like, excuse my friend, if you don't get your ass off this court, I'm gonna get in trouble. Not, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm supposed to be monitoring what you doing. So I'm like, man, my bad. My knee ended up swelling up after that, whole debacle. And it swelled up like every week. So now for me, being all the way healed, in a couple weeks, now I'm dealing with this fluid, aggravating, whatever's going on in that knee. So I keep having to get it drained every week, every 2 weeks, man. And that was just draining mentally, you know what I'm saying? Because you want to be healthy. You just want to go to practice, man, go to weights, get back to practice, go to class. You just want to do the normal things, but you got this, this rehab that you gotta, be on top of. But I want to say probably around February that first season, I ended up taking the brace off, and that's when, I was back 100%. And that's when I started showing flashes and taking strides into who, I really could be. And my freshman year, that's when I was just straight defense. That's how playing for the coach I played for, Bobby Luce, that's how you was gonna get on the court.
Bobby Luce.
So I had to figure it out, and that's the thing with a lot of kids today. I feel like they're not taking the time to just figure out other ways to be, productive with the game. If offensively that ain't it, but then we getting away from, playing a bunch of defense and stuff. That ain't really never been, something that they pressured you to want to do.
Good
If
point.
you could score that ball, if you could really play. So, defense was my staple. Like I said, to get on the court my freshman year, I did that. And there was no looking back from there. But that set me back because I only wanted to do 1 or 2 years and then, make that jump. I think if I would have been able to make that jump my sophomore, junior year, then I probably would have had a longevity in the NBA. You know, with timing and is everything.
Right.
And, you know, with me playing all 4 years, man, I did some great things at the university. We went to the tournament every year. The furthest we got was to the second round. And, you know, we was conference champions. You know, I won championships, you know, while, you know, at UNC Charlotte, 2 to be exact. We was conference champs my junior, senior year. And, yeah, man, that's where I really kind of flourished and put my whole game together. Because after my sophomore year, you know, now I'm back to, you know, slashing and being, you know, the athletic guy I am. So they see me getting to the basket. They see I'm athletic. You know, that's the high side of it. But now they like, well, can he shoot? But what I'm shooting for, if can't nobody guard me and I can get to the basket, or I'm getting my points in transition or off of defense.
Right. That's right.
But, you know, I ended up showing them guys that I could shoot, man. And I got a lot of high praise from some, man, legendary coaches that was in our league at the time, man. Rick Pitino, John Calipari, Tom Crean. They spoke highly of me my junior, senior year. So, you know, I guess, man, I did what I was supposed to do and what I could do at the University of Charlotte. And, man, you know, the next chapter was right in front of my face.
And what was that transition like for you?
So, you know, I graduated. My family, you know, they excited. My grandmother was happy. That's all she wanted from me. You know, my mother, my father, they all got to come to that senior night. And once that last game hit, it was like, now it's time to, you know, buckle down. You got these workouts. You got to go show them who you are. So now I'm going. I probably did 28, 29 workouts out of the 31, 32 teams, however many it was at the time. And I'm talking about I was in workouts with 4s and 5s. Like my agent was just throwing me at any workout he could get me in.
Yeah.
And I remember like one of the last ones, you know, like I played against the Julius Hodges, the Allen Andersons.
Allen Anderson.
Yeah, you know, all the guys, man, Anthony Roberson, all the top guards that was coming out that 2005 season. So, you know, I went up against all of them, man. We had battles, man. And for the most part, man, I did my thing. You know, like I got the best of them. I think I was one of the top 2 guys in each workout. So I thought my draft stock was going up and up. I was hearing good things. So, yeah, one of my last workouts was the Seattle Supersonics at the time. That show you how long ago that was. But Nick McMillan was the coach, man, and I was in there with Brandon Bass. You guys probably remember LSU. So me and him was kind of like, he was an undersized 4-man, but he could bang. You know, he was 6, you know, whatever. He was strong as an ox. And we just sitting there going at it with 2 5s, with 2 centers. And Nate McMillan stopped the practice and said, man, let me ask you something. Who your agent? So I tell him who my agent is. He was like, now, I'm for sure you a shooting guard, point guard. Why are you in this workout with these big fellas? I said, man, I'm just here to work, man. Whoever he can get me a trial with, man, I, you know, told him just line it up. And he was like, man, but you killing these guys, man. Just sit out, man. Like it ain't even no match. Like, and I'm doing the big men drop step drills, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they got their mid-range shooting little.
You got the hook, you got your hook shot.
Look, it's a joke because ultimately I ended up with the Bulls, and I'll rewind. But I remember one practice they had us doing a miking drill. Right?
What's that? I'm not familiar.
So the miking drill is like when you're under the basket and you just continuously going layup, left, right, left, right. But I was dunking it every time. And I think we had to do it in a minute. And I think in that minute, man, I probably got like 22, 23 dunks. And he just like, and Scott Scales
showing off.
He just was like, I never seen a guard just do the big drill the way you did it. So, you know, that was a little joke with it, man. I told him that, man, I've been playing the 1 through 5, man. You know, once I got to college, man, like it's nothing. So, You know, to rewind, like I said, the tryouts, the workouts, man, like it went well. I went to the NBA draft workout. You know, my numbers, my vertical, my bench press, all that was, you know, top of the top. I was top 10, you know, in every category. So I'm really thinking like, okay, I'm about to get drafted. You know, I heard some good things from some guys, but you never know the real business. You know, you never know what agent deals with this GM or, you know, everybody knows how the business go now. We at that age where we've been through it. We had our experiences. So, you know, when you don't know the game, man, you don't know how to navigate at that time. And I'm young still, even though I was a senior, you know, I'm still new to this. So draft night come, you know, I had a big draft party, you know, out up in Marlboro, you know, people coming, people I knew, people I didn't know, people that just heard about it. And I'm there, you know, I'm thinking like, okay, my name gonna be called. I know Denver had told my agent if I was around with their second pick, because they had a lottery pick, and then they had like a pick at 21. So they was like, if I fell, you know, that low, that they would grab me. I fell that low. They did not grab me. They ended up grabbing a foreign guy named Linus Kaliza.
Yeah, I remember him.
So they got Julius Hodge with the first pick, which was like 14, 15. And then they got him at 21. And I was in the workout at Denver with Julius Hodge. That's my brother to this day. Shout out to him and all that he did. But I was with him in the workout, and I was killing him.
That's what I wanted you to say.
Like, I was killing them, you know, like Linus Kaliza, all them guys was in there. Anthony Roberson, all the guys I'm naming. Like, I'm with all the top shooting guards, point guards at this particular workout, and I'm killing them by far. I just knew Denver was one of the teams that was going to get me, but they didn't. So that's when I'm like, that's weird. So I'm just learning the business, man. I slipped to the second round, you know, the draft party, you know, people spinning out, it's leaving.
Oh.
And I get a call. My agent get a call from Toronto. Toronto wanted to draft me at like 31.
Damn.
And what people fail to realize, if you get drafted, like, I think it's to 35, you still get a contract like a first rounder.
Like a guarantee.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Right.
So I knew that the Bulls in Dallas. Y'all there?
Yeah, we
had.
My bad. I knew that the Bulls in Dallas was high on me, but they didn't have picks that year because the previous years they gave them away and whatnot. So they didn't have any draft picks that year. So I'm like, Toronto wanted to draft me and then send me overseas my first year. So I'm like, nah, I ain't trying to do that. I'm trying to play in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I work hard for this. But this, me not knowing at the time.
Right.
So I told them, nah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I told my agent, nah, let's just go with, you know, the Bulls. You know, since I already fell out the first round, let's just sign with the Bulls and go from there. So draft night, you know, it ends. San Antonio got the 60th pick, and that was it. Once the draft ended, I get a call from John Paxson. And, you know, he just expressed, look, hey, you know, we've been high on you. You had a great workout here, blah, blah, blah. We want to bring you in. So I said, man, say no more. Let's do it. So then they end up sending over the contract. You know, I signed a 2-year deal. And, man, from there, it was just like, okay, now I got to go, you know, bust some people's ass because, you know, they played with me. You know what I'm saying? And, man, I went to Summer League, man, and I tore it up. You know, I was first team, you know, out there. Everybody who got drafted in front of me that I played against, oh, you know, they got the blues. You know what I'm saying? And definitely Denver. You know, I wanted to go to Denver. My man Melo was there at the time. You know, and that was crazy because, you know, you get excited when that opportunity or that possibility comes around. But once it didn't, man, I'm like, all right, now I'm just gonna have to see these guys on the other side. So Melo was at the So we played Denver in the championship of that Vegas Summer League. Me and Julius Hodge key matchup. And, I did them. We won. Not particularly him. That's my man. We always had good battles.
But you barbecued him.
But yeah, Denver fought it, man. They probably was kicking themselves that they ain't draft me, man. Melo was courtside, he talking trash. And we had a good summer league, man, and that's where it all started, man. That's how it ended, and that's how it began. So,
hey Ed, so your first year playing under Sky Skiles, man. You had Kirk Heinrich, Luol Deng, Ben Gordon, Michael Sweetney, and Randy Livingston. That's my guy right there. I banged with Randy Livingston. He's a legend within his own right. Absolutely. That's another story for another day.
Legend,
yeah, exactly. Who was your vet, man, that you leaned on, man, your first year, bro?
Okay, so you just named all them guys. So Luol Deng was younger than me. He did one and done. Ben, we was the same age, same class, but he left early. Tyson Chandler was my age, but he went straight from high school.
Right.
Eddie Curry was there at the time, but then he ended up getting traded to New York. So that's when Mike Sweetney and Jermaine Jackson and Tim Thomas came over to the Bulls in that trade.
Got you from here. Okay.
So ultimately, Tim Thomas was my vet once he got there. So mind you, that was kind of like in the middle of the season when him and Mike Sweetney got there. So Mike was, he was the big homie. He was older a couple years, 2 years, and then Tim Thomas was the vet. But that's when I started to really like have somebody to put me under their wing and really tell me what's going on. And it was a lot, man, that year, man. I was the only rookie on the Bulls, man. So they just was trying to do so many things to break me. And I just couldn't understand, like, why would you do this to somebody that y'all say y'all wanted to be a part of y'all organization? And like
Sky Skiles.
Yeah, Sky Skiles. But it was.
I heard he was a weirdo, man.
It was more so the assistant, Jim Boylan.
Yeah, I heard it. Okay.
I don't know what he had against me. Everybody that knows me from youth league all the way to my senior year in college know what type of hard work I am.
Right.
Know I give it my all. Know that I love this game. Every time we step a car, I don't care who we playing. Like, I'm going to win. We're gonna win.
Right.
I've won my win to loss ratio is astounding. For sure. And I just couldn't understand. I went in there to work hard. I thought I was gonna be a part of this team, this organization, and do some great things. The time that I did play well, so people knew.
I saw you.
But man, I just didn't get the opportunity to play as much as I felt like I should have and even thought I would. It was a shock, man, and it kind of was a whirlwind because it happened so fast. Like, people don't realize that season go by like this. It's 82 games, you somewhere every night. So before you look up, the season was over.
Damn.
And I'm like, Randy Livingston actually came when we went to the playoffs. So we went to the playoffs, man, and that kind of like hurt me a little bit because they signed Randy Livingston at the end of the regular season so he could be on the playoff team. And I'm the rookie defensive, guy.
Right.
And I'm like, we playing Miami the first round. That's Dwayne Wade, Antoine Walker, Shaq was on that team. They had their good vets. But I'm like, I just played 3 years against D Wade. I know his whole game. If anything, you will make sure that I'm not on the injured reserve and I'm able to give you a couple young youth minutes.
Right.
And I just knew, like, man, I was excited for the playoffs and everything. And then when they put me on IR, I was like, man, that's crazy. So that's when Randy came and he began to play. And he played in the playoffs and all that. So, and I'm like, and at that time, like, man, they brought this old head back, man. Like, he can't do nothing with me. Now, I understand him knowing plays and knowing how to, control the game and be poised and all that. But I'm like, come on, man. He can't do nothing with me at this juncture of his career. But Skiles loved him. Like I said, they must have had, a rapport, and he brought him in. So
Eddie, were you thinking all of these things in your head, or were you verbalizing, man, what we doing here? Like, are you that guy, or were you saying in your head, like, I know this dude ain't about to play in front of me?
yeah, it was to my default. It was more me like in my own head. You know, I'm talking to my agent and I'm letting them know like, you know, I'm on time. I'm giving these dudes problems in practice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like me and Ben Gordon used to battle, but you know, he was 6'3", I'm 6'5". You know, if I give him some space, he was knocking it down. But if I'm on him, I'm on him. Like that defense is defense. So I'm just like, man, I can't even play. And we getting blown out by teams at times. And
But do you think that affects your outward demeanor, right? Because I hear it in you, and I know we all know that feeling when you like,
yeah.
what's happening, and it's
No,
a very humbling thing.
I was more humble at that time. So I really wasn't outspoken. I was just more like my actions is gonna, you know, show you that I need to be playing. Like the energy I'm giving off in practice.
Right.
Like I'm a positive player. You know, I'm a positive guy. Like I'm really not. I don't never get down on myself. You know, I'm even keel, and what's for me is for me, and that's just
Right.
my mindset. But I would talk to my agent, like, man, talk to him, see what's going on. We losing. It's games I know that I can help him with, but I never took the initiative to go talk to the coach.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, you know, even though I was a young man, you know, and I did 4 years, so I wasn't like a freshman, 18 fresh. I'm like 21. I still wasn't comfortable going to talk to him and face him like that, even though I should have been, you know, because like I talk to anybody else, you know, out there. But I don't know, maybe if I went in there, said the wrong things, you know, maybe, you know, us going back and forth delivery, like I didn't know. So I just like, man,
No,
let
I
me
get that.
work.
I get that. In career, I did that. I worked for ESPN for 3 years.
No, okay.
And if I had to do it over again, I would have. I was very aggressive and very vocal, but there are some areas where I think I should have spoken up, and so I feel that in my spirit, Eddie.
Yeah, man. And, you know, when I sit here today and we having a conversation, and I've sat alone and I thought about it and I said, man, if I had just went in there and had a conversation with the coach, I know things would have turned around for me. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you live and you learn, and that's a part of your journey. And
True story.
So, you know, I man, it's life.
Ed, you got to give us. And Kobe, I'm gonna jump in right quick. This is my last question. Ed, you got to give us your craziest NBA story. I know you got one in you.
Me playing against a player like that,
Ed.
or just a story in general.
It's International Women's Day.
This is the No Cap Sports Show podcast.
Eddie Fred trying to get the scoop, Eddie.
Come on, Ed.
He's just trying to get the scoop. Don't do it.
All right, so no. I'm gonna tell you a surreal moment, like that moment when you like, dang, I'm here. So we ended up playing the Lakers in out LA, you know, at the Staples Center. And man, I wasn't expecting to play. You know, I thought I was gonna be on IR. You know, I'm just chilling. You know, I go to practice, we practice hard, but when it's game time, I'm like, oh, I ain't playing. I'm just, you know, I'm being street clothes. I'm cool. I'm gonna see Denzel tonight. I'm gonna see Jack Nicholson. You know, I used to watch Shine when I was a kid. That was one of my favorite movies. I'm like, I'm about to see all these celebrities for the first time. So right before the game, they're like, get dressed. So I'm like, get dressed. I said, man, hold on. I ain't played in 2 weeks. I just came from the D League. I said, y'all up to something. So, you know, I get dressed and, you know, we get out there and you warm up. Boom. This Kobe, man. It's Kobe time. So I'm watching the game and I'm watching and I'm on the Bulls, but Kobe is going to work. Kobe is going to work this first quarter. So I'm like, man, Coach better not put me in this second quarter because I done got stiff. I done, you know, everything like you is not about to embarrass me with my man. So first quarter in, I see everybody like, oh. So I look to my left. It's Rihanna and Sierra. They walking and they go sit courtside directly across from me. So me and my man Gennaro Pargo. Shout out to him from the Shy. He was on the Bulls with me at the time. That was my guy. That we was like the what we call ourselves, the second team bandits. Like when they put us in the game together. Look, every time, I don't know how many games, I might have to go back for this record, but every time we got in the game, we were always losing. So let's say the first set of guys was flat. We were always losing. Me and him always brought us back somehow, some way. He was more polished with the offense at the time. He'd been in the league a little longer, so he was confident with it. So he was getting his, offense on. I was in there tenacious defense, getting them steals, just changing the momentum of the game. So that was my man. So we just right there and we looking, we messing with, them across from, and we just having we having a good time because we know we ain't about to get no minutes for real. Man, I'm watching Kobe light us up, man. He probably got like 33 in the second half.
Wow.
He scored 5 more points, and Coach Skiles calls my number. So mind you, I tell you, me and Pargo, we chilling. Look at Shorty. We gonna get her after the game. Yeah, we gonna.
Always wonder what y'all be talking about on the bench. Like,
man, I'm saying, if you playing, you focus, you win it. But if you not, you kind of like, you looking around, you seeing what's up. But I'm like, man, what we going to eat? We gotta invite them, man. What's up? Man? Can't let this slip. This probably like Bow Wow, Sierra, maybe after Bow Wow, but Rihanna just on her, come up. But man, he called my name, and mind you, I'm zoned out because I ain't even thinking about playing. I'm looking at all of them. They like, Eddie, go. I'm like, oh shit, what's up? I jump up real quick. And I run to that scores table, but as I get to the scores, I'm like, oh, these niggas, they think they slick. They trying to get me embarrassed. Kobe is hotter than fish grease. But I'm like, we from, man, we ain't backing down from nothing.
Right.
So I get in the game as Kurt Heinrich, me, Andre Nocioni, Mike Sweetney, and Tyson. Get in the game. First play I hit, and Kobe tell him, oh, yeah, y'all come to me, man. I got the rook on me. So I'm
running his mouth.
I'm like, what? But he ain't looking at me. He ain't paying me no attention. He don't even care. I got the rook. Y'all know what to do. Every time. I'm like, oh, you got me fucked up, Kobe. So, man, they take it out on the side. And when they take it out on the side, they run their play action, boom. Kobe get it on the elbow. He get on the elbow, I'm guarding him. I'm right there, I'm on him. He make his move, and then he pull up for the jumper, little fade. I get my hand on it, but he still gets it off. You know how when somebody getting it, and you still get it off, and he knocks it down. Cool. Oh, I said, yeah, you just hot. That's why you made that. I was on you, though. He like, I'm going to do it again.
I'm going to do it again.
I'm like, yeah, all right. So, I'm running down. I'm like, hey, Kurt, come to me. Let me get a bucket. Kurt come down, shoot a transition 3, miss, clunk, clunk. Now I got to run back hard, catch up with Kobe. Kobe done took off. Mind you, my adrenaline running way higher than him.
Yes.
So, you get tired faster. My legs feeling heavy after 3 times up that court. Kobe, they keep coming to Kobe, man. Second time I had to foul him. I had to chuck him real hard. Let him know, man, I need to catch my breath. And then after I fouled him, chucked him that second time, he got me, made his move on the baseline. I cut him off baseline. He backing me down. All I hear is Mike Sweetney. Hey, I'm behind you. I got your back. Push him baseline. Just don't let him cook you. Like, Mike, come on, man.
Saying all the wrong things.
Yeah, so I'm on him. He end up, doing that patented fade away from the side. And that went in, man. And he finished the half, man, with 38. So that was like, that coming to, you met the superstar of the league moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a cool moment, man. Then like stories outside of the NBA, like outside of just basketball, man, I've experienced everything, Kobe. Man, even before, I was around NBA guys, man, when I was in high school, family members, friends, barbershop. My barber used to cut all the Wizards guys. Shout out to Ronaldo. But man, I've been living. I've been fortunate, been blessed to be living, that life, man, for a while. So it really wasn't nothing like too, out there where it's just a big story. I've been at celebrity parties, in the hills, big boy mansion joints in Miami. I played with the Heat for a minute. Man.
So
Eddie,
fast for go ahead, Kobe. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say this. So talking about crazy stories, I want you to confirm or deny this one. All right. So back in the day when we was hooping, matter of fact, it was out here in Alexandria at GW Middle School. We was playing for Showtime Will. Rest in peace, Will.
Man, rest in peace, man. Look,
yes, sir.
Man, you see I got this. ST, man, that's Showtime, man. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we had an early game, and I remember we was all out in the front of the school talking about plans for later on that evening. I think we was gonna go to the 501 club. I think me, you, my man Brandon. Shout out to B Will. And long story short, the nighttime comes, time to go to the spot. No Eddie, right? so Brandon said, "Let me call him." And he got on the phone and said, "Man, you ain't going to believe what Eddie is." I said, "Where?" He said, "Man, at the BET Awards."
Oh yeah.
So from that short period of time, from leaving the basketball game, a few hours later, here in LA at the BET Awards.
hey, look, Cole, and see, let me explain something. Yeah, I definitely that's for all facts. That's all facts right there, man. And let me explain what one of my problems was. Well, I was around AI, messing with, Big Will, with Jerome Williams, all the guys that came through Georgetown, the guys that came through Maryland. Like you said, Rodney White, he was in the league. I was still in college. So these all like big cousins, big homies, whatever, friends. So I've seen all that. We've been driving them whips and been doing, going ahead, playing up the rucker, being around, the artists, entertainers. So I wasn't never in awe and shock, to do none of that. But yeah, that is a fact. I did, head out west and got to their BET Awards. And it's crazy because it was just me and my little man, Mark. And Mark he doing some great things now, man, working with Kevin Hart. Man, he working with Jason Tatum, man, and a couple other guys, man, out here right now managing and, just doing his business thing. But it was just me and him, man. And I remember, man, we went out there, man. We went shopping, got our little fits, man. We just sitting there. We had the little plug to get the, passes and all that. And we had us a good time. We had some real good time, man. But I used to leave at a drop of a dime like that. Once I left college and I'm living, the life, man. You tell me about something right now, we on the road if it's 2-3 hours away. Like we going wherever, it's popping at. And man, shout out to 50 Cent with that BMF series. But since that, something everybody tuned into right now. Man, I remember being in the club with BMF, you know what I'm saying, and them buying the whole club bottles, the whole club. Give everybody, man, and not nothing cheap. You know what I'm saying? I seen them, with the money all over the bar. I seen them at the end of the night. I seen the show. Yeah, shout out to them. Like I actually seen it. And I was a young guy, so I'm like, man, it's real. And that's in Atlanta, Miami, New York. They was who they say they was for sure. So, stuff like that, man, been in them celebrity parties, man, like I said, in the hills and in Miami, it's just the life, man. That's just the level you on. So, yeah, then like even abroad, it got real, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, that's a whole nother. Part two.
We definitely gotta have a part two, and we gotta talk about the
part three if that's necessary.
And seriously about that, because a lot of guys don't understand the overseas market and play and how you just got to be professional. You got to be on it. You can go up the ladder. You know what I'm saying? You could be making 50,000 1 year, and then in 2-3 years, 500,000, 350, 250. But even with getting that type of money, man, that's more than you'll be making in America working a 9 to 5. So, you got to strategically just map everything out, and just have somebody in your corner that's been there and done that, and you don't have to take the bumps and bruises that they already went through.
Yeah.
So,
Ain't nothing like tax-free money and the team paying your agent fee, right?
Man, listen, and that look,
Wow.
and look, you still have to pay, but it's just not the full amount, and you have to get the papers from your team saying they paid taxes in their country on that money. So, like, if Maryland, I was living in Maryland at the time. Let's say Maryland was 48% state tax. Whatever money I sent back over 10,000, they had a calculated number of that. And let's say the team paid 37%, then I owe the remaining percent. But I would have to show that with my filing taxes, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know that as a youngster. You just said what you said. That's what I heard. Tax-free, they pay your agent, and my man, we come home with the bag.
Yeah.
But, man, Sam smacked me. Smacked me serious, you feel me? But
yes, sir. Hey, look, so we at the end of the show, Fred, what you think about a quick rapid fire for Eddie before we get out of here?
No, you go ahead, bro. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up right now, man. The question is, is he ready for it?
Miss Lane, she had something to say. I don't know if she still had her.
Oh, go ahead.
It's after 9:30. I can't remember nothing.
All right.
My brain turned off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Thank you, though.
All right, round table rapid fire. We just gonna ask you some quick questions. Eddie, you're gonna choose one or the other.
Man.
All right. DMV or DC?
DMV.
DC Assault or PG Jaguars?
PG Jaguars.
KD or Kobe?
KD.
Ja Morant or AI?
AI. But Ja Morant, my favorite player, man.
Okay.
But AI, no.
Okay. So you and Delonte West, to me, is one of the best high school backcourts in the DMV area I've ever seen. So there's another legendary backcourt around the same time you played. Maybe they're a little bit before you. But if you played a 2-on-2 game, you and Delonte versus Keith Bogans and Joe Forte, who would win?
Oh, man, me and Delonte.
So in the seven-game series, it's going 7 or it's going to be a sweep?
Nah, it's going 7, but we went to Roosevelt, and our exhibition game was against DeMatha.
Okay.
We beat them every time.
There it is right there.
Enough said.
Yeah, we beat them every time. And like I said, I was Keith and Joe was seniors, and I was, a junior. I mean, a sophomore. So, and I ain't saying, I had 30 and all that, but, I had double digits, and, Delonte Holland handled, that business. But, yeah, I definitely was a major piece to that. So, yeah, I'm going with me and Delonte.
All right, and the last question before we get out of here, Ebony Lofton said, ask him sugar or salt in his grits.
Dang. I'm gonna go salt, right? Because that's what my granny started me out with. But as I've gotten older, I throw that sugar in there.
you put that butter on there too. You got the butter on there too, right?
You gotta have that butter, man. Or it ain't right.
Listen, y'all know I never had grits in my life, and I won't. I was a cream of wheat.
I'm about to take your black card. I'm about to revoke your black privilege.
Don't you can't.
I was a cream of wheat guy. I was a cream of wheat guy. Yeah, I like
cream and wheat.
Cream of wheat.
Cream of wheat.
You never had grits in your life?
I never had oatmeal in my life.
I haven't had. I actually put it on. It was too lumpy, and it just the consistency. I wouldn't eat it. Okay. Random, but
Yeah.
No. I understand, but you gotta try you some grits though. Shrimp and grits, something.
I'll take the shrimp out. I've had shrimp and grits, but it's just the shrimp, and it's the bacon. I pick out the bacon and the shrimp. I know I'm weird, but whatever.
Okay.
Say what you want. Say what you want. My self-esteem is in check.
Well, look, man, this was an awesome interview, Eddie. We appreciate you 100% for joining the show.
Thank you,
man. Look, but we definitely got to get you back for a part 2 because I know it's a lot more. It's a lot of parties I want to hear about, Eddie. Yeah, we got to hear about the international life and everything. so you definitely got to come back, man. And again, man, on behalf of the No Cap Sports Podcast, man, we appreciate you, brother.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks, fam.
And I appreciate you guys, man. Same. I had a good time. And I'm gonna just leave y'all with this, man. I ended up playing a total of 2 seasons in the NBA. And it was great, man. I appreciate, that whole experience, man. It was definitely a blessing. I fulfilled my dream. But that European tour was everything.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
One more thing, Ed, before we get up out of here. What advice will you give to Ja Morant right now? We know that he's been, like I said, he's been going through it. It's been publicized and stuff like that with the gun in the club and stuff like that, or what have you, and the drinking on the plane. What advice would you give to Ja Morant?
Man, well, first, taking a step back. So him, taking some time away from the team and, just reevaluating, and assessing everything that he's been going through over the past month and some change. That's the first step. But man, that alcohol and that partying scene, it's a beast, it's a devil's playground. You don't know how it's going to affect you. The music we listening to now, your frequency is up and down, and it's just low vibration music, man. So he just got to tap into his higher self, man. He has an opportunity. Well, he's already changed his family's life, but now he has a legacy that he needs to build on. So, he's young, some immature moves, so far, but he just needs to know he got to be more responsible for himself. And he doesn't have to live up to no image. He doesn't have to portray no image. Like, play basketball, take care of your daughter, your moms, your pops. You got your family around, man. A lot of us wish they did have mom and dad around and was able to be in his shoes, man. Don't let them people trick you out of, fulfilling your destiny, man. So, just take a step back, man. Stop the drinking and just tap in, man, to your true self, man, your high self.
That's right, bro.
Advice.
There it is, that part right there.
Yes, sir.
All right, get us on out of here, Mills.
Listen, thank you all for joining us. Eddie B was the bomb, and we're going to have him back for part 2, part 3, as soon as we can schedule it. But please click like and subscribe. We are the No Cap Sports Show. We have all of the opinions. We talk about all of the things. Catch us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
Good night.
No Cap Sports Show
There are 4 fouls on the play.
That's why it took so long.
Running into the kicker, number 34 in the kick.